The statement that this meeting is being recorded and it'll be online in due course. If you're not happy with this, please leave the meeting now. Everyone is still there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to you all to the meeting. Performance and Resources meeting on a lovely morning in November. We'll move on immediately to the apologies. Yes, we've got 5 apologies. Brian Angel, Delith Lloyd, Rhys Hughes, June Jones, and John Pugh Roberts. Thank you very much. And Daniel wants to leave at 11:30, and I'll also want to leave at 12:30 if the meeting will still be on. Welcome, Nia, to your first meeting of the Performance and Resources Committee. We'll move on to item 2. Does anyone like to declare any interest in any matter being discussed today? No? Okay, we'll move on to the minutes of the 10th of July. Everybody had the opportunity to look at these? I would then like to propose that they're a correct record. I'll propose. Yep. And move on to the minutes of the 11th of September. Let's have a quick look at those. Any matters arising? Anyone like to propose that they're correct record? Thank you. Anwen's proposed that they're correct and Meryl has seconded. Lovely. So I'll sign them here. Okay. Now we'll move on now to item 4. Iwan, are you going to lead on this? The action sheet. There were 3 things on it that I recommend that the first will be taken off. An update on it is in the paper. The other 2 will remain in place. Any comments on those? Everyone happy? There we are. Einar and Anwen. If they just like to show that they're happy. Are they happy with the recommendation? Are they? Thank you. Thank you. Everyone happy? Everyone happy? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Item 5, Strategic Equality Plan. Leanne Bethan, is it? The annual report on our equality plan for 23-24. The report includes an update on all the different elements that they need to be reported upon each year under the Equality Act of 2020. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's quite a bit of information there. I'm not going to go through anything in detail. It's all there for you to see. But Nia and myself are here to answer any questions or respond to any comments that you have on the report. But otherwise, as you can see, the recommendation is to recommendable so that we can publish it on the website. Thank you, Adam. Anyone like to make any comment? Thank you for the detailed report. You've gone into great detail here. Everyone happy with that? So we'll accept it. So we could just have a vote to see if can everyone raise their hands if they agree with the recommendation? There we go. Great. Right. Item 6, the information centres. And Awel is on her way. She just got in touch. She's delayed. I don't know if you want to do your point today. Want to move on to item We'll rearrange things a little bit. Awel can come in later. We'll move on to item 7. Iwan, the improvement objectives.
So adroddiad poeni
So the report is a 6-month report on the first one in front of the 1st and 2nd of April. The recommendation to examine and discuss the corporate work programme. And usually we do go through it page by page, so we can see if there's any matters that come up as we go through it. So we'll go through the pages. We'll start with page 53 and on to 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, and on to 65, 66, 67, 68. Oh, Joe. Joe, do you want to come in on this?
Yeah, thank you. Just about the Article 4, we were due to have a consultation in the autumn. Are we going to get any feedback now before the report on the SPG, or is that all going to come together? Thank you.
Yes, there is the report. What we presented in December to discussing the feedback to the consultation. Then there will be a full item to the committee in January.
Yeah.
Is it next Wednesday it's going to be presented? Yes.
Deal. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe. We'll go back to 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 78, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, and 91. Here we go. Any comments? Or is everyone happy? I'll pass it on back to you, Iwan. No, we've gone through the documents, and as you can see, I'm sure you're happy with most of the actions are in green, which shows progress. The recommendation is just to receive them. Thank you, and thank you for all the work. We'll go back to item 6, the information centres. Awel, are you going to take us through this?
Yeah, so blwyddyn eto eitha llwyddiannus.
Another successful year. The 3 centres are performing quite well. But the turnover has gone up in all 3. There was less increase in the number of, you've seen Aberdyfi where you've seen the number of visitors has increased because partly due to the fact that this first time we've had staff appointed in the centre who've remained until the end of the season. So hopefully these two members of staff will return next year. So once again, we'll be in a strong position in Aberdyfi as well. I don't know if anyone would anyone like to make any comments about the report? Thank you, Awel. Any questions?
Better Coed yn unig dach chi'n siarad?
Better Coed. Are you talking about Better Coed? No, I'm talking about the 3 centres. The 3 have done quite well. How does it look with Aberdyfi? There has been difficulty with appointing staff. Yes. No, we've been quite successful this year. We had a member of staff at the beginning of the season, and she remained until the end of the season. I've spoken to her, and I do hope that she will return next year, so that we'll be in the same situation. So the year before, the people had to travel long distances, and we appointed, and sometimes it didn't start until May or June. So we weren't fully open compared to how it was. The results for that the centre shows what the potential is when it can remain open, that the times are supposed to be open. So it's been successful this year. And also we have a tenant in the building as well. They have an ice cream factory, and they've started this year to bring a few chairs and tables outside, selling ice cream there as well, which also attracts people and makes them remain in the area, and they come in to the centre. So that's worked very well as well.
Can I just come in if you could do this? Yeah.
Point 7 there, there's a piece of work that we're conducting there in Better Coed, where we're looking at try to do things slightly differently. Gone out to the market to consult really so we're conducting some work there. I think we appointed this week someone to conduct the work. So watch this space on that. So hopefully it'll be quite far-reaching with what's happening there. So we will let you know what the developments as when we know them. Can I just ask, is there any kind of incentive that one who has been in Aberdyfi, any incentive to attract her back? The problem is because it's such a seasonal centre, that's been our problem. There's no consistency with work, especially over winter months. So the only incentive really would be to open over winter months, but that isn't feasible really. We don't have the footfall there. Since she's remained there for the whole season, is there something that we could maybe offer her to attract her back next year? Can we give it a discount or something like that? No. That's part of the package that we offer already. In the past, at the beginning of the season, I think we have 13 or 14 members of staff in the different centres. But from those, only 3 of them have contracts which take them through the whole year. The others are all seasonal posts. It's not the nature of what we do at the moment. And I don't think there's anything that, if we offer, I don't think it'd be fair to offer it to one of the centres and not to the other 2. But, is there anything that we can, we've had the brilliance here this year, and you can see the impact that it has, and there is a call for it. Just wondering if there's anything we can do. The authority has to be consistent with all members of staff. We can't show favouritism to one sector or one service over the others. It needs to be consistent. We have to be we often have the same terms to all seasonal members of staff. I don't think that it's an option really. No, just since we've had how can we people who've been there all day, how can we attract people back? She's going to come back. Yeah, yes, I hope she will.
Ond dach chi'n gweld, that's a perfectly
The nature of the job is, she can receive a full-time post in January, and we'd be in the same position again. Well, I hope everything goes okay. Thank you. You sell T-shirts and hoodies online with the PAX logo on them. I went to the winter fair and they were selling hoodies and T-shirts. Why do we do that ourselves?
O'n i'n gweithio yn Ganolfan Croeso.
I worked in Betws y Coed Information Centre years ago, many years ago. And whilst I was working there, we did sell T-shirts and hoodies and coats, fleece coats, and gloves and scarves and everything with the PAX logo on them, which were nice. And when I left, and I came back about 10 years later, and we still had them. They hadn't been selling. We sold them in the end, and at cost price, just to get rid of them. And it took about 2 years for us to get rid of the surplus stock. So since then, I haven't taken the risk really. With any kind of clothing that we brand, it's not a matter of getting one T-shirt. You have to get one T-shirt in 5 or 6 different sizes. And then in order to order those, you have a higher risk then rather than if you just tried something else. So when you talk about where our centres are located, Betws y Coed, is the busiest one with the most visitors. If you think about the type of shops that you have there in competition with us in Betws y Coed and what they sell, I haven't taken the risk. Spoken to people who do the same job as me in other national parks. A few of them do sell branded T-shirts and things, but not the majority of them. A lot have tried and have failed to do so. So I haven't gone down that route. People you can order from outside companies and you don't have to retain a huge number of stock, but I don't know. It was just something to raise the income I was just thinking about. Thank you very much. I was just going to say, it is very competitive market. And getting all the different sizes, you'd have to order different colours and everything. And that's just for T-shirts, which have, not to mention different hoodies and things like that, Some like a puller necks are like without a hoodie and yes, right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Is everyone happy with that report? Would everyone like to, can we have a show of hands that they're happy with the report? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Right. So we move on to item 8. The update on external finance and grants update. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Apologies, I rushed a little bit to do this. Next time, I think I'll include a lot of pictures. So it's quite dry with the content. But I think it's an opportunity for us just to show pictures of some of the projects that we've conducted. So next time I will include a lot of pictures. So the purpose of this report, just give you an overview of the strategic projects that we conducted in the park and the type of things that we're looking at for the future. I'll go through it quite quickly. You can see in the first instance the sustainable landscapes in 2.3, which has been set out there. It's a 3-year project from Welsh Government. Projects of decarbonisation, nature recovery, sustainable tourism and supporting communities. They've all been moving on time and within budget, so they're moving on very, very well. As you can see, there's in 2.4, you can see some variations, a few variations there. Going to table 3.10, that shows some of the projects that you're familiar with. The strategic projects which are ongoing, apart from the first one, which has just come to an end. The Dolgellau Townscape Heritage Project. We're hoping to have a 3rd phase on that in the future. So we've started working on that. See, we've done so much work there. We just need one further push to complete the work which has already started. So keep an eye on that. So we'll keep in touch with it. And then the Carneddau Lottery project is moving on well. This Celtic Rainforest was going well. I was in an event concerning this in Cardiff yesterday, which was very... The Deputy Minister was there, and a number of other Assembly members, Senedd members, sorry. And work is ongoing with partners, with the... You can see the Dark Skies Partnership in North Wales. We're working with other designated landscapes there. And then the National Grid funding is all being drawn into 321. We've managed to win by the National Parks Partnership, which is sponsored by BMW. So there's money that has been spent there in Llyn Tegid area. So that it gives you some background there on the work which has been conducted there. And that's something I know that the National Parks Partnership have more ambition on this with this aspect. They've released their annual report and they want to push harder on these. They think they can attract further funding from private businesses to help us with our projects here in the park. Part 4, we've just put in a new application over the summer for the Nature Networks Fund of the project worth around £1 million. We hope to hear about that quite soon. So if we're successful, we'll be able to start in the spring. And that sets out the work that will be happening on that project. And then the future projects. The first part sets out the areas that we're targeting. If you're happy with those, you've give us some guidance on the specific areas that you'd like us to concentrate on. So we've just adapted a few of those, but they're broadly the same as they were. And point 2 sets out my charts, which shows how the process of approving grants, and then Appendix 3 just goes into more detail about specific projects and what's been happening within each one. There we are in overview. I do feel that we are an authority who achieve our targets, and the recommendation is a recommendation for you to approve the report. Would anyone like to raise a hand if you want to ask anything? I've heard a lot of people praising the project in Dolgellau. I've been looking at it myself. And you said that there was another phase to be completed, is it? The work has been fantastic there. I think we need one more push. We'll put an application in the spring for the 3rd phase, hopefully. there was slight delay with the paper shop, but that's happened now. Tim,
Just i ddeud,
just to say,
sorry, just i ddeud, mae gen y parc
just to say that this pack has a good history of attracting funding and completing them well. I'm glad to see that the future has been planned for, but it's very important that we do continue to chase these funds. They'll be more and more important with the level of funding that we receive from other areas. So I'm very supportive of where we're heading, and congratulations to everyone who's working on it. Thank you, Tim. Anyone else? Just very quickly, Mr. Chair, on Tim's point there, I think
Mae'r ymgylch wedi mynd bach yn oddach rwan.
it's a slightly more complicated environment now. I think the Celtic Rainforest was a huge project, but there was European funding, and those funding streams have disappeared, and we're waiting to see what appear in their place. But like strategic environmental funds. So that's an area that we are aware of, and it's important that we continue to chase these funds. But it does make it a very competitive market. There's a lot of pressure on the lottery grants. Everybody's applying there for the strategic projects, but I hope that we can continue on with the good track record that we have. Can I just add one thing? I think the private funding from private companies is a very contentious issue, and I know that people are slightly suspicious about chasing that type of funding. But from a personal view, with what John has just said, it's an area we will have to look at in the future, and we'll have to be clear that we are approaching this, but in a careful manner, and we need to be very careful who we work with, and with that we use due diligence with people, so we ensure that we could work with people who maintain our standards, and we don't just go in there who aren't just in there for the short term, but who really want to work with national parks. I think what the national park partnerships are doing is fantastic work, and I think in Wales we need to play more of a part in this in the future. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, John, for the report. So the minute for 6 point. The third one, I think, is the one which is to confirm the priority areas for the future. So can I have a show of hands if you're happy with the recommendations? Okay, thank you, and thank you, John. And good luck to you as well, John, with this, with the coming years.
Sorry, Rachel.
Rachel wants to come in, I think. Oh, Rachel's coming into the meeting. So I'll just explain which item we've.
Hello, Rachel. Hello, Tony.
Hiya, yeah.
Hwyl. Ti'n iawn, Rachel? Na ni eisiau. Wedyn, da ni'n...
Wedi cyrraedd diwedd grantiau canol fan ni, eitem 8, a dyn. Ie, eitem 9 i'w drafod, a wedyn oedden ni'n cyrraedd cynllun archwilio allan.
Eitem 9 gyda ni gyda Rachel, wedyn da chi pan dod i mewn wedyn, oce?
Diolch.
Diolch fawr, Rachel, diolch fawr. Gareth, sy'n dod i mewn fan i ar adroddiad iechyd a diogelwch?
Ie, diolch fawr. Ie, fi di Gareth Hughes, dwi di swyddog iechyd a diogelwch parch ers mis Ionawr. Dyma cyfarfod gyntaf fi o'r Pwyllgor, a brofiad gyntaf fi baratoi gyfer...
Rwy'n siarad ni, Gareth.
Ie, dwi di cynnwys gwybodaeth dwi'n meddwl sy'n berthnasol a defnyddiol i'r Pwyllgor, ond dwi'n hapus.
I've included information that's relevant, and it's here for your information and your feedback. I can provide you with a summary if you like.
Adroddiad bach gymni ta?
Dwi'n hapus i roed rhywbeth i'r crynodeb.
I'll give you a summary if you want. So the background of the job is that an external audit was undertaken last year
rheolaeth iechyd a diogelwch y parc.
into the health and safety of the park.
O hynny, awgrymiadau a
And from
cyngor,
that, there was suggestions and advice was given that we should have a qualified person in this role with the specific responsibilities for health and safety. That this is statutory in order to comply with the HSE regulations. And since I've come into the role,
yn yr adroddiad dwi 'di mynd I fewn a
well, in the report, I've gone into further detail really to explain what I thought were the deficiencies really. And the main things are that our policies and procedures are not reviewed on a regular basis. Our risk assessments as well, and our training requirements policy in relation to staff. I've flagged those as well. So I've gone on to include an item on incidents. We can see in this data in the previous year there's been a small increase in incidents, but there are less major incidents. Perhaps the reason why we're having more reports is because we created a system, well, a digital system via a Microsoft Forms tool, and that means that any member of staff can report on any accident or incident on the intranet, on the authority's intranet, obviously. So it's facilitated the process really, so that may well explain the reason why we've got a few more reports now. I've included the visitor data in the TICs. It shows how many people come to the TICs and how little incidents there are on those sites. There was only one incident, really. Moving on to absences and health. Here we can see that the increase from the previous year isn't major, but if we were to look at the reasons behind the cases, we can see the increases of issues like stress. It's 3 times more, at 39%. That's similar to what we've seen across the country in our field of work. And so that's a major focus for us going forward in relation to well-being and mental health. NIA is a part of it, and the human resources section is referring staff to occupational health if required. We're implementing a well-being plan and working with managers in order to create an action plan for those who have been away with stress. That makes it easier to come back to their role. We can put mitigation measures in place to make it easier for them to come back to their role. And we've started strain risk assessments. This is something statutory that we are meant to do as well, and I've initiated this. And so we're hoping to improve our actions.
cofnodi absenoldeb.
because we need to record absences and put more specific reasons against them. And it will improve our statistics going forward.
I orffen ymlaen sôn am ni'n gobeithio wneud poliadur
I'm also hoping to send a HSE strain questionnaire that'll go out to all members of staff, and it's an independent questionnaire, and it will help us understand where the weaknesses are and how it will help us with the strain risk assessments. Now we have staff who have been trained in mental health, first aid, and the wellbeing champion as well. Okay, then, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Tim? I just have a couple of questions. First of all, can I welcome Gareth? It's great to see you, and I'm sure you'll make a difference to what we're trying to do. The first question that I have relates to page 111 in relation to those figures there. The figures in the lower table there is far too low. It should be much more detailed. Do we have anything in the pipeline, or are you considering anything that might raise awareness about how, if you record the near misses, because if you can record these near misses, you can find out what's likely to cause accidents. We said before there have been problems, say, with maintenance, but we can then identify those things before anybody hurts themselves seriously. That's fair enough. And as staff members know, they know that they can report incidents, and we ask them to report incidents, near misses and incidents, and that gives us more data. And another way going forward would be perhaps to create a system where we collate observations, maybe good and bad ones. That may well be a good way of collecting more information and doing that independently, or shall we say confidentially, is what I think he's thinking of, rather than independently. Getting people to record those near misses is difficult because it's a bit embarrassing for people, but it's more to do with the culture than it is with systems to get people to see the value of reporting near misses, because it avoids accidents for co-workers, and so it would be worthwhile looking into this maybe and make sure that we give it due attention. One thing that surprised me, we've talked about things like this, there's no mention of ticks, and I know that we had one serious case last year when a few people were bitten by ticks, and I can't believe, like, somebody who spends quite a lot of time in the monitors, that not more of our staff are bitten by ticks, because it's a major problem. And this should be recorded here because it can have a huge effect on their lives and their health. Yes, we did raise awareness, and we do raise awareness every year about ticks. But yes, it's worthwhile noting that. And just a small comment, it was before your time, but in 2022, one of the major causes of accidents was manual handling. But unfortunately, there's nothing in last year's training in relation to this. It would be good to see that that has caused a lot of accidents, and we've given people the training as a result of that. we need to address the risk that this poses among our staff, really. That's something I'd like to have seen here. It is something that we're intending to do next year. We do offer ELMS training as well on this.
Diolch ti. Yr un peth ola,
The last thing I was going to say about the figures in 2022 and 2023 in relation to strain, that's pretty scary in any organization. It would be good to understand if that's because of recording and how we record, or is it really a lot more strain? And if it is, then we have to understand very quickly what's causing this and try to do something about the cause rather than dealing with the impact in the end, because this can have a major impact on people's health and how they behave and how much attention they give to tasks which can lead to other accidents. What you've demonstrated here with the trust indicator tool is really good, but I think we need to see what's causing this in the first place. That will be a period of change probably, but to have a record that's 3 times as much, that is pretty significant as well. Can I just come in there? Gareth has highlighted that it is a focus for us, and I do agree that it is high. From a HR perspective, that's why we've looked at training to members of HR as a mental health first aider and the wellness champion as well. Not only that, like Gareth said, we're looking at recording my options now so that we can better record. Well, at the moment, it's not clear when people go off for an absences why they're off sick. So we're going to make that more obvious now. So they may go up higher again so that we're accurately recording these numbers so that we can see what the issues are. There are wellness action plans and there are referrals to occupational health and the strain risk assessment. And so if anybody gets any condition, if they have to have a leave of absence or they have a problem in work, they do tackle them with that and try to provide support. But with the mental health first aider, we're working with there's a specific person that they can approach. We really are taking it seriously and dealing with it. You've led me to a comment. Like you said, the concern there about the figures in 2022 to 2023. Do we have access to counselling for the people who want it? Yes, we're very fortunate. We have an app that we have on our phones. It's called Wellness 360. And it's free for our staff. There's bilingual counselling on it, but there are several workbooks there, and there's access to a general GP 24/7 as well, and we've had pretty good feedback on that. And if anybody has a mental health condition, according to the feedback I've had, they're often seen on the same day, either on the same day over video or over the phone. Counselling, yes. With the post for it or the RCS, but they get that through the 360 app. And you've given us a report on the app 360. Perhaps we should get an update on that so that we raise awareness about it again, just to keep us as members up to date. Edgar, I'm just going to propose the report to the recommendation, sorry. Does anybody have any other questions for Gareth? Are everybody happy with that? Can we have a show of hands, please? Everybody's happy. Thank you, both of you. Okay, on to item 10, the detailed audit plan. Rachel, welcome. Over to you. Thank you for letting me join you this morning to present our detailed audit plan for 2023-2024. I'll give you a bit of context. This detailed audit plan is a bit different because of the delay with the financial audit after the issues with the pricing in which delayed 2021-2022. So this is for year 2023-24 and 2-year performance because we've been a bit out of sync. Unfortunately, there's nobody available on the performance side of things, but I'll give you an update and I'll take any questions and take them away and get back to you on performance. But I'll give you a full presentation on the rest of it. So there are 3 major risks that have been recognized. The first one relates to management override. This is a standard risk which relates to every organization, and the other 2 have been noted because the planning element was still ongoing when we were writing the plan. The risk in relation to financial risk has been deleted by now, and there's only a small element of risk in relation to recognizing revenue, and that's specific to car parks where payments are made through cash, where there are small elements of risk, where our audit work is concerned, and the other 3 risks. One relates to the standard of the accounts because of all the changes that needed to be made last year and the problems. We have to consider the standard of and quality of the accounts, but having had the discussion last month with Dewi and Shan, the accounts seem to be improved from at first glance, and I understand now that there are more staff in the finance section now, and things are moving in the right direction and looking better. With regard to asset pricing, there's no full pricing in 2022-23, but because of inflation in relation to construction costs has been so major. If you think back to 22-23, we have to consider if assets pricing is still materially correct in comparison with market pricing, especially because some prices are based on construction. And the pension situation has gone through to a liability to an asset situation, which is pretty unusual. So we have to consider if the treatment is okay. One thing that's positive is that we've dealt with this problem and the other audits up to now, so we know how to deal with it and what needs to be done with work. I don't foresee any problems, but it's something that's quite strange that we have to note in the plan. With regard to the timescale, the audit work is ongoing. The team have been on site this week. The intention is to blitz the work over the next 2 to 3 weeks and complete all of the tests before Christmas. And I'll come back to you with a certification and report in February when the next authority meeting is held. And the hope is that we can catch up with the audit work for 2023-24 pretty soon and certify after certifying 22-23, and we'll see where that goes before we jump forward. With regard to the performance work, the thematic report on access to the parks has been drafted, and I think that it'll be put in front of the officers for clearance soon. The work on the Wellbeing Act is ongoing at the moment, and we'll be in touch in the new year to start the assurance and risk element of the work. Moving on to fees, this has been noted under number 5. The table shows there the final fee for the work for 2021-22 and quote our estimation for 22-23, but we've included 2023-24 is included as well, so they have the full picture. With regard to the accounts, the final amount was much higher than the estimation because of all the changes that needed to be made and problems with the pricing. So the estimation for 22-23 is a bit less than the cost in 21-22 when you consider that there's no full pricing, but higher just in case there's a need for the same level of changes. But the 315 standard was amended and this came into force for audits in financial year 22-23. So these amendments have meant that we've had to start from scratch with our approach. So there's a lot more planning that needs to be done in order to understand the documents and document the reports and how we choose samples, etc. So more work is required initially before we undertake the testing this year. The fee is an estimation. I have purposefully noted a higher one rather than giving you an unexpected bill. We don't have the right to make a profit on the work, so if it's less than the estimation, that's what will be charged and not the full amount. And the changes have been made to the audit team. The main one to note is that Matthew Edwards has taken the role of director over from Derwin Owen. We have to ensure that we're independent, and so we have to circulate the directors. Matt is very familiar and he's worked with the park in the past and knows the park very well. That's all really. I'm happy to take your questions. Thank you very much. I'll open it up. Does anybody want to raise any points with Rachel? Everybody seems very happy, Rachel. Thank you very much for that. Well, basically, did you want to raise anything on my left here? No, I'm happy. I accept the comments that have been made by Rachel. And we'll be working together and we'll be working with Matt Edwards. He's the director for Cyngor Gwynedd as well. So I know Matt well and work well with him. Thanks, Rachel. Okay then, thanks Rachel for joining us. Item 10 is finished with. 11, which is to present the information, these minutes for information. Item 11. It's just a matter of accepting them. I'm happy to take any questions in relation to this if you have any. Everybody happy with the minutes? Are you proposing it? Elwyn, are you proposing that they're correct, Elwyn? Yes, I am. Meryl has seconded that. Okay, thank you. Can we have a show of hands, please? Thank you very much. And that's it, and thanks everybody for attending. That's finished in good time. Enid can attend her appointment on time. And it's nice to see the good weather again. And thank you all very much for attending in Penrhyn and at home as well. We'll bring the meeting to a close. Thank you very much.
Well,
Ta. Bye.
Yeah. I think you're going to